Hello and welcome to Ducoscopy TV. Today I'm joined by Lee Eldridge, Director at Finsbury International. Lee, thank you so much for coming in today.
Welcome, thank you.
Now, today we're going to discuss qualified regulated overseas pension schemes. Can you tell me a little bit about QROPS and how they're regulated, please?
Yes, originally QROPS, their birthplace was back in 2006 in the UK. In April of 2006 there was a overhaul of the UK pension schemes, and I think at that time it was about trying to help people or encourage people to save more money towards their retirement. How they're regulated is there are different jurisdictions around the world where you will find QROPS, and you will find that if you take, for example, places like the Isle of Man, or if you look at Malta, they will be regulated by the local regulators. So at the moment, where a person has a UK pension fund, that will be regulated ultimately by the FSA in the UK. If you looked at other areas, it just comes under the regime of that jurisdiction.
So what advantages do they offer for people who have UK pensions but have become non-UK resident for tax purposes, for example?
Very good question. With the UK pension fund, if you are resident in the UK, you will be able to, upon retirement, take 25% of that as a lump sum coming out of your pension pot tax-free. If you are in a QROPS scheme and you are non-resident, you will then be able to take 30% of that fund. There are also, there's something called GAD rates in the UK, and these are actuarial rates. So the government basically look at how much you can withdraw out of your pension fund over a period of time, because what you don't want to do is deplete the pension fund and you're still living. If you take 100% of these GAD rates in the UK, so that people have their income, if you look at overseas schemes, they typically tend to be slightly higher. The other great thing about QROPS is where you have a pension fund in the UK and you have the trustees that will look after that fund ultimately, depending on which type of fund it is, you can't really have that much of a say. If you move away from that regime, you will have a say in where your money is invested, so it gives you more freedom to actually see where you want to place funds.
What criteria does one have to make to become or be able to have a QROPS account?
The one major criteria is, and as you can see all the benefits that we've just discussed, that's okay, but not everybody is applicable. The one criteria is that actually you are retired overseas. Not retired, but you're actually due to move overseas. Because you have to be a non-resident, okay, of the UK for 5 tax years before the old regime falls away.
HMRC recently tightened the regulations with regards to QROPS. How will this affect expats who are looking to transfer their entitlement to other jurisdictions?
One of the problems for the expats at the moment, or people looking to move their pensions, is some of the uncertainty of actually what if they move to a QROPS, is that actually going to be there next year? You know, will it still have its status? The one thing is, once somebody has moved into a QROPS, even if that status was removed, okay, which we have seen recently from a couple of jurisdictions, the actual pension fund itself is regulated and will still run as a pension fund. But it does cause and create some uncertainty for the expats, so we have to be very careful about recommendations of which type of schemes.
You mentioned the removal there. HMRC recently removed all QROPS from Cyprus. The reasons have yet been unclear or unstated so far. What did you make of this?
I was quite surprised at the time. I think the industry in a whole was surprised about the removal for Cyprus. What you have seen before, back in 2008, was Singapore had some issues. If you look earlier this year with Guernsey, for example, and now with Cyprus, the difference with Cyprus is that came to some surprise was because Cyprus is part of the EU, where the others weren't. And there's only really 3 main reasons why any QROPS is removed from HMRC list, because every single QROPS provider has to be approved or on the approved list. Now, when you come to that criteria, what you will find is one that to be removed, you've got the list of three would be the actual QROPS provider wants to be removed. Okay. Secondly, the scheme is closed down, or HMRC actually remove you. Now, from what we can see at the moment, HMRC removed it, and it's very hard to see exactly why. I mean, there are suggestions it was some sort of administration wrongdoing. My real concern there professionally, if that is the case, is the fact that potentially somebody who is in those schemes would be liable to an unauthorised payment charge by HMRC.
Well, it's certainly an interesting situation. I'm sure more light will be shed on it soon, but thank you for your insights at present, Lee. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now that's all we've got time for at the moment. Hope you enjoyed the interview, but please click back to Dicoscopy for many more like it. Bye for now.